Hello, and welcome back to Cars of Glasgow. I'm Thomas, and today you join me with this, the 2025 Renault 5. This is an all-electric, stylish 5-door hatchback, as you can see. And in this video, I'm going to give you a look at this anticipated, highly awarded EV, show you the exterior, show you the interior, and get on the road for a test drive. So stay tuned for this video. So we'll start off with the front of the new Renault 5. Now the one I want to point out is the French national bird, the cockerel, is in each of the headlights as a little Easter egg, as well as the French flag at the top of these headlights. It's worth mentioning because this is a higher trim Renault. We do have the upgraded headlight design. The base trim has a slightly different design there. We do have this geometric print pattern down here for your daytime running light, and it's got a little 5 here just beside the parking sensor, and you can kind of see this chevron style serrated pattern going across the bottom where your radar cruise is, as well as your parking sensors, and it's mimicked as well up here where the Renault badge is, and when you run your finger across that, it does have like a 3D texturized effect. Now this particular car is finished in pop yellow. As you can see, it's quite a vibrant colour. They also have pop green, which is another vibrant colour. That's just one of the standard free options. But if vibrant colours aren't for you, you can also get it in white, black and dark blue. And you can get various colours on the roof as well, which we'll touch on when we get round to the side of the car. Now you're going to wonder, what is this design element up here? This is a harken back to the previous Renault 5, but instead of this not having an engine with needing a vent, this is a little indicator for your battery status. So this little number 5 lights up as your battery's fully charged, and it will decrease the little bars as your battery decreases. So it's not always on as well, so that assures me that when you're out driving on the road, that's not always illuminating or blinding you when you're driving at night. So that is worth mentioning as a little design element there. Now on the side of the car, we do have these 18-inch diamond cut two-tone alloy wheels. This particular car is fitted with the Continental Eco Contact 6Q wheels, for anybody curious. But crucially, what's going to be more important, is how you recharge this car. So this is your charge flap on the side, home charging, and then you can pull this out here for your faster CCS charging, which is quite useful. We've also got your button for your locking and your deferred charging button just there inside that little flap. Now you're going to see we've got the black gloss plastic running around the side of the wheels. This is where the batteries live, behind here, so that's why you've got a big black sill. And this particular car is fitted with a little graphics package, so we've got a number 5 graphics on the roof, as well as the 5 graphics on the side. This car is quite customizable, so depending if you want a plain Jane looking model, or if you want to upgrade it and make it look a little bit more personalised, you do have that capability. So all Renault 5s currently are all electric, and they all come in this body style, which is the 5-door hatchback. Renault have hidden the little handle in the rear up at the top where the C-pillar is, as you can see, to kind of make it look a little bit more like a 2-door, 3-door hatchback, but all models are coming as standard with the 4 doors. Now the front handles are a little bit easier to grab because they're more traditional, but as you can see up here, just something like you see in a CHR. So in the back of the R5, you're going to notice these tail lights. They do take a lot of design cues from the previous R5. I like the little fake vent on the side, kind of reminds me of the turbo models. And this like serrated style is continued on the rear pattern as well as in the badge itself. Overall, the back end of the car a bit squared off, boxy, no visible tailpipes or anything because it is an EV. Parking sensors, black gloss plastic, and that pop yellow overall. You've got a little integrated front brake light there, as well as your wiper. Open the boot. And this is where we're going to see not one, but 2 cockerels on either side of the boot. The interior boot of the bottom, again, has got that serrated continuation of same what you see in the lights, same in the badge. We've got that on the floor. And the seats do fold kind of 2/3 and 1/3, so like 66% and 33%. There's little tabs you have to reach down and pull in here, which is not the easiest to do, but you can do that like so, and they fold down. Now the seats do not fold completely flat, which is a shame, but as you can see, they hit off the front seat, so you need to go around and pull the front seat forward to slide them down. But there is a bit, I don't know, a good 6 inches gap there, preventing the seats being completely flush with the floor. However, at least you've got the practicality to fold the seats down in this compact car. Let's go ahead and pull this seat up. I've moved the front seat forward so we can get that closed. Now, if I jump in the back, it is a pretty tight cabin back here. The floor in the rear is pretty high up. That's quite disappointing. My knees are kind of brushed up against this seat. And then, yeah, there's not much room, as you can see. I'm 5'11". Headroom's pretty poor. I feel like that roof line's just kind of impeding on the size of my head there. And just, yeah, overall, there's not too much going on. There's not much in terms of interior storage either. There's no door bins, there's no centre armrest, and there's no like convenience in the middle either. There's no like charge ports or climate vents or anything like that back here. But we do have a little bit of storage behind each of the seats with the mat pocket. But out with that, it's pretty small back here. So I think teenagers, larger adults would struggle to maybe have this as your family car. There is ISOFIX points for children's seats on the outer bits, so at least you can fit them at a pinch. So another disappointing thing is in the back. The rear windows stop about a third of the way, so that you can't hang your arm out in the back for your rear passengers. And with the windows up and they're tinted, it's quite claustrophobic back here. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing for rear passengers. Yeah, let's check it up front and see if it's any better. Now you join me in the cabin up front in the new R5. Now, let me show you, first of all. So let me show you the key in this car. It's a traditional big Renault key. You can literally put that like in the middle or down below here. The interior of the car has got quite screen focused. We've got two large screens with the plastic bezels around them. So we have your touchscreen in the middle here. It does things like your heated seats, heated steering wheel, and then it's got haptic feedback as well, so you know what you're hitting. You can change various modes. You can see things like your air quality, turn off driving assistance. On the right hand side of the screen and the dashboard here, tap that button and you can do one button to turn off like the ADAS, the speed warning signs, etc. Or you can save a personalised system, so it's to pick and choose what you want to have turned on and off, and you can have that saved into there as well, so you don't have to have it as defaulting every time. Now the steering wheel as well has got that kind of octagonal shape, like what we've seen with the MG products, and we've got a little multi-sense button here on the right hand side. Some buttons as well, which is quite nice to see, things that control your screen in the middle here. You can see that cycling through. Again, it's got that serrated pattern that we've seen on the exterior. On the interior, it's mimicked on the dash here. Now we do have a digital dash which you can customise for things like your map. We can see things like your range. I've got 81% and 168 miles of range in this car. And then you may notice we've got a whole bunch of stalks around this car steering column. Left hand side is where your lights are going to be. Rotate it forward for on, auto, and you've got your auto main beam there, indicators as well. The right hand side, this is unique kind of looking piece here. This is your drive selector or gear selector, all the way down for drive, neutral in the middle, and forward upwards for reverse. Now this car, if I pop it into reverse, has got a reversing camera. This particular one does not have a 360 camera, but the reverse camera pixelation quality is pretty poor for a 2025 car, never mind a brand new model. It looks a bit, I don't know, I would even argue it's worse than a 2006 Lexus IS rear camera. It's not that clear, it's a little bit of a shame. And there is no P button. You think you might push the diamond, but there's no park button, so you have to put it back down into neutral and engage the parking brake down below. It's a little bit of a clunky kind of system there, but that is what you have to do. You have your wiper stalk, and then down below that, which you can't see with the steering wheel as it is, but if you turn the steering wheel, we've got your volume control and your source for your radio. Now you can control that through physical buttons and that on this middle bit here. On the third stalk here, we do have a stalk that allows you to control your source for your media as well as volume controls. It's a little bit weird and clunky instead of having it on the steering wheel like most other cars, but I guess that's a Renault thing. And then down in the centre here, we do have the aforementioned parking brake, auto hold, a little cubby for stuff, charging pad, and then another cubby you can put something else there. This one's got a little Renault 5 symbol Easter egg there. And then got USB-C chargers, as well as a 12-volt power outlet, a little bit more storage and cup holders in there, and a little bit of storage in there. Now we do have a little armrest in this model, but it doesn't reach right in back, it just literally goes up and down. But yeah, overall not too bad. Build quality, what you'd expect from a Renault, quite scratchy plastic, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, on top of the scratchy plastic, we do have a button here. You can turn the screen off for cleaning and things like that, because it will get dirty, as well as physical buttons for the brightness and as well as physical buttons for the volume as well there. And that serrated pattern again is just continuing on this side bit of this plastic trim here. Now it is nice to see we do have physical buttons for your climate control here. It is single zone in this car. The owner said when he bought it, it was sold with dual zone climate control, but the UK models at least only have single control for your air conditioning system, but at least we do have aircon and we can control that through here. This big bit of plastic here, I'm not quite sure what that's to do. It's just a bit of plastic big blank button. There's nothing seems to be attached to that. Door lock, hazards, and then we'll have a look at the glove box. Now, it wouldn't be a Cars of Glasgow video without a glove box reveal. Pull this open. As you can see, that just falls down with no grace at all, not lined with fuzzy stuff, and there is a fuse box in there, so it's about a third of the size is lost, if not more, because of the fuse box, which is a shame because Renault have been doing that for a good while now, not having the fuse box moved when they make the right hand drive cars. Left hand drive won't have that issue. That's a bit of a shame, but that's also a bit of a shame just the way that kind of drops down, especially considering the price of this car. Now the owner said he spent over £32,000 in this Renault 5, and yeah, I think things like that don't really feel £32,000 quality. Now let's have a look under the bonnet. So under the bonnet is where you're going to see all your electrical gubbins, your battery for the 12 volt, your motors and things like that. The Renault 5 does come in two variations of power. You can get 120 brake horsepower or 150 brake horsepower. The lower one has about a 40 kilowatt hour battery, or you get a 52 kilowatt hour battery if you go for the 150 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 is about 9 seconds for the base one, or just high 7s for the 150 brake horsepower, and all that power goes to the front wheels. Now what is a little bit disappointing is there is no front boot or fruit or frunk, depending where you're watching in the world. Cars like the Ford Puma Gen E have a little bit up front where you're able to put your charging cables in. I think it's a little bit of a clever touch, especially in electric cars. I do like it when they've got a front boot. This car unfortunately doesn't. Now it may look a bit more like a conventional vehicle under here. We even got a little bit of noise deadening material underneath the bonnet. Now let's get out on the road for a test drive. Alright, you join me behind the wheel of the R5. Hit the selector into drive and let's give it a little acceleration. Now this car is the 150 brake horsepower front wheel drive variant. Quite a little noise. You can hear that Renault noise in the indicator. Steering's quite light and agile, which is not what I expected. I will say you do feel like you're sitting quite high up for a city car. Visibility out isn't too bad. The nose is quite short. I said it's just the roof line feels quite like closed in and claustrophobic here with this A pillar into the roof. But out with that, it doesn't. Visibility is not too bad. It does handle not too bad agile wise. That's 20 odd miles per hour, and the car does go down in B mode. You do have a D mode for drive or B mode. There is no like one pedal driving per se in this variant. Apparently that is coming on later models, but this variant right now doesn't come with one pedal driving, so you can put it in B mode for a little bit of regen, but it doesn't have the full one pedal driving, which is a shame in comparison to some other competitors. It does feel quite peppy, light on its feet. Doesn't feel too noisy, which is obviously a benefit of losing a combustion powertrain. And how does it compare to things like, say, the BYD Dolphin Surf that I drove? Well, it does feel a little bit more grown up, a little bit more car and material, but again, the price point of this, that one I drove was what, 23 odd thousand, maybe 24,000. This one's 32, so there is a bit of a price jump. So I would expect a little bit more from the car myself. Now I do like things like we've got the blind spot monitor, nice and easy to use. It's overall quite a nice feeling, you know, with the steering. Feels nice, light and fairly direct. And the ride is not too terrible. I was expecting it to be a little bit harsher just from going off some of the comments I'd seen from other people, but yeah, it doesn't seem that bad in comparison to what I was expecting in my head going in. It's not as cosseting, as comfortable as like a Citroen EC3, but it's definitely, you know, it's not that terrible or that firm. So if you were looking for a comfortable daily, I would test drive it first. It's maybe not the most comfortable, but it's definitely far from being harsh. Now let's see what it's like to park. Slow down, pop it into reverse. That reversing camera is just so terrible. They really need to change that ASAP. That's such a disappointment for a 2025 car. And there's no 360 camera like we'd seen in the competitor products, which were like £8,000 less than this. But overall, it's not too bad to get into space, and it's not a super huge vehicle. So getting it into a British space is not too much of a challenge. That's probably an advantage of it being slightly shorter in dimensions. There we go. And again, you just want to go for like P for park, but you have to hit it down into neutral, pull that little parking brake in the middle so you don't roll away. That feels like a little bit clumsy. You're here and then you're reaching down there instead of it all being in one place. Now the question is, should you buy the Renault 5? If you're looking for a design focused car, there's not much else in the market right now that's giving you as much attention as this Renault 5. It's got that retro future look which people are desiring. Until the Twingo comes, I think this is probably the best looking Renault at the moment. And it does compete things with like the Hyundai Inster. It competes with things like the BYD Dolphin Surf, both of which are cheaper. I think the Dolphin Surf maxes out around £23,000–24,000. As I mentioned, this one's about £32,000, although it does start at £22,995. By the time you add some options on, like you see today, quite quickly gets quite expensive, and at £30,000 you're competing with things like larger cars from the class above, like an MG4, MG S5, which is an SUV fully electric, and that's rear wheel drive. This is a front wheel drive. So yeah, it starts getting a little bit, by the time you add options on, maybe a little bit less desirable in comparison to some options, especially for that low 22,995 price tag that attracts people in the headlines. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel below, comment your thoughts on the car, and let me know, would you buy one? And hopefully you guys found this video useful. See you next video. Ciao.